rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. Yo, it's game day, stadium packed, feel that rush. From Boise to App State, man, we never hush. Rocking the colors, yeah, we bleed that pride. Cinderella stories, watch our dreams collide. Late nights, bright lights, we grind every play. Underrated talent, we gon' make them say, who's that team when we come to town? Representing for the schools that wear the crown. We in the G5 Hive, buzzing loud, we thrive. Underdogs rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. Yo, it's game day, stadium packed, feel that rush. From Boise to App State, man, we never hush. Rocking the colors, yeah, we bleed that pride. Cinderella stories, watch our dreams collide. Late nights, bright lights, we grind every play. Underrated talent, we gon' make them say, who's that team when we come to town? Representing for the schools that wear the crown. We in the G5 Hive, buzzing loud, we thrive. Underdogs rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. We the ones they are. The ones they can't skip. Fighting for respect, it's a tough road ahead. But we pack that heart and we never dread. Late hits and big plays, we bring in the heat. Watch out for the G5, we can't be beat. From the MAC to the Sun Belt, we don't back down. In this football jungle, we wear the crown. All the doubters sleeping, but we making noise. In the G5 Hive, we the realest boys. When the clock's ticking down, we the ones to believe. One play, one chance, we gon' make them achieve. From the sidelines to the end zone, hear that roar. In the G5 Hive, we always wantin' more. We in the G5 Hive, buzzing loud, we thrive. Underdogs rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. So raise your flags high, let them wave in the air. In the G5 Hive, we the squad that's rare. With heart and grit, we rewriting the script. In the world of college football, we the ones they can't skip. Yeah. We in the G5 Hive, buzzing loud, we thrive. Underdogs rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. Yo, it's game day, stadium packed, feel that rush. From Boise to App State, man, we never hush. Rocking the colors, yeah, we bleed that pride. Cinderella stories, watch our dreams collide. Late nights, bright lights, we grind every play. Underrated talent, we gon' make them say, who's that team when we come to town? Representing for the schools that wear the crown. We in the G5 Hive, buzzing loud, we thrive. Underdogs rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. Yo, it's game day, stadium packed, feel that rush. From Boise to App State, man, we never hush. Rocking the colors, yeah, we bleed that pride. Cinderella stories, watch our dreams collide. Late nights, bright lights, we grind every play. Underrated talent, we gon' make them say, who's that team when we come to town? Representing for the schools that wear the crown. We in the G5 Hive, buzzing loud, we thrive. Underdogs rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. We the ones they are. The ones they can't skip. Fighting for respect, it's a tough road ahead. But we pack that heart and we never dread. Late hits and big plays, we bring in the heat. Watch out for the G5, we can't be beat. From the MAC to the Sun Belt, we don't back down. down in this football jungle. We wear the crown, all the doubt is sleeping, but we making noise. In the G5 Hive, we the realest boys. When the clock's ticking down, we the ones that believe. One play, one chance, we gon' make them achieve. From the sidelines to the end zone, hear that roar. In the G5 Hive, we always wanting more. We in the G5 Hive, buzzing loud, we thrive. Underdogs rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. So raise your flags high, let them wave in the air. In the G5 Hive, we the squad that's rare. With heart and grit, we rewriting the script. In the world of college football, we the ones they can't skip. We in the G5 Hive, buzzing loud, we thrive. Underdogs rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. Yo, it's game day, stadium packed, feel that rush. From Boise to App State, man, we never hush. Rocking the colors, yeah, we bleed that pride. Cinderella stories, watch our dreams collide. Late nights, bright lights, we grind every play. Underrated talent, we gon' make them say, who's that team when we come to town? Representing for the schools that wear the crown. We in the G5 Hive, buzzing loud, we thrive. Underdogs rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. Yo, it's game day, stadium packed, feel that rush. From Boise to App State, man, we never hush. Rocking the colors, yeah, we bleed that pride. Cinderella stories, watch our dreams collide. Late nights, bright lights, we grind every play. Underrated talent, we gon' make them say, who's that team when we come to town? Representing for the schools that wear the crown. We in the G5 Hive, buzzing loud, we thrive. Underdogs rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. We the ones they are. The ones they can't skip. Fighting for respect, it's a tough road ahead. But we pack that heart and we never dread. Late hits and big plays, we bring in the heat. Watch out for the G5, we can't be beat. From the MAC to the Sun Belt, we don't back down. In this football jungle, we wear the crown. All the doubt is sleeping, but we making noise. In the G5 Hive, we the realest boys. When the clock's ticking down, we the ones that believe. One play, one chance, we gon' make them achieve. From the sidelines to the end zone, hear that roar. In the G5 Hive, we always wanting more. We in the G5 Hive, buzzing loud, we thrive. Underdogs rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. So raise your flags high, let them wave in the air. In the G5 Hive, we the squad that's rare. With heart and grit, we rewriting the script. In the world of college football, we the ones they can't skip. We in the G5 Hive, buzzing loud, we thrive. Underdogs rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. Yo, it's game day, stadium packed, feel that rush. From Boise to App State, man, we never hush. Rocking the colors, yeah, we bleed that pride. Cinderella stories, watch our dreams collide. Late nights, bright lights, we grind every play. Underrated talent, we gon' make them say, who's that team when we come to town? Representing for the schools that wear the crown. We in the G5 Hive, buzzing loud, we thrive. Underdogs rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. Yo, it's game day, stadium packed, feel that rush. From Boise to App State, man, we never hush. Rocking the colors, yeah, we bleed that pride. Cinderella Cinderella stories, watch our dreams collide. Late nights, bright lights, we grind every play. Underrated talent, we gon' make them say, who's that team when we come to town? Representing for the schools that wear the crown. We in the G5 Hive, buzzing loud, we thrive. Underdogs rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. We the ones they are. The ones they can't skip. Fighting for respect, it's a tough road ahead. But we pack that heart and we never dread. Late hits and big plays, we bring in the heat. Watch out for the G5, we can't be beat. From the MAC to the Sun Belt, we don't back down. In this football jungle, we wear the crown. All the doubt is sleeping, but we making noise. In the G5 Hive, we the realest boys. When the clock's ticking down, we the ones to believe. One play, one chance, we gon' make them achieve. From the sidelines to the end zone, hear that roar. In the G5 Hive, we always wanting more. We in the G5 Hive, buzzing loud, we thrive. Underdogs rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. So raise your flags high, let them wave in the air. In the G5 Hive, we the squad that's rare. With heart and grit, we rewriting the script. In the world of college football, we the ones they can't skip. Yeah. We in the G5 Hive, buzzing loud, we thrive. Underdogs rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. Yo, it's game day, stadium packed, feel that rush. From Boise to App State, man, we never hush. Rocking the colors, yeah, we bleed that pride. Cinderella stories, watch our dreams collide. Late nights, bright lights, we grind every play. Underrated talent, we gon' make them say, who's that team when we come to town? Representing for the schools that wear the crown. We in the G5 Hive, buzzing loud, we thrive. Underdogs rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. Yo, it's game day, stadium packed, feel that rush. From Boise to App State, man, we never hush. Rocking the colors, yeah, we bleed that pride. Cinderella stories, watch our dreams collide. Late nights, bright lights, we grind every play. Underrated talent, we gon' make them say, who's that team when we come to town? Representing for the schools that wear the crown. We in the G5 Hive, buzzing loud, we thrive. Underdogs rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. We the ones they are. The ones they can't skip. Fighting for respect, it's a tough road ahead. But we pack that heart and we never dread. Late hits and big plays, we bring in the heat. Watch out for the G5, we can't be beat. From the MAC to the Sun Belt, we don't back down. In this football jungle, we wear the crown. All the doubt is sleeping, but we making noise. In the G5 Hive, we the realest boys. When the clock's ticking down, we the ones to believe. One play, one chance, we gon' make them achieve. From the sidelines to the end zone, hear that roar. In the G5 Hive, we always wanting more. We in the G5 Hive, buzzing loud, we thrive. Underdogs rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. So raise your flags high, let them wave in the air. In the G5 Hive, we the squad that's rare. With heart and grit, we rewriting the script. In the world of college football, we the ones they can't skip. Yeah. We in the G5 Hive, buzzing loud, we thrive. Underdogs rising up, taking shots, we alive. From the mountains to the coast, we gon' bring that fire. In the heart of college football, we the ones they admire. Yo, it's game day, stadium packed, feel that rush. From Boise to App State, man, we never hush. Rocking the colors, yeah, we bleed that pride. Cinderella stories, watch our dreams.
Forward, gets out of a tackle, now turns on the Jets, up to the 30, the 20, 10, 5, Torrey Horton back to the end zone.
28-yard play, guess who? Body, up the middle, making another move, to the outside, 15, 10, end zone again.
Keeps it, nice move by Brown, he's got space, he's got 6. 35-yard touchdown for Byron Brown, a record-setting night for the South Florida quarterback.
Down so far, a little bit of a high snap. Genty right up the middle. Genty has room. Ashton Genty, give him 6.
Second and long. Lagar tries to fit it in. Runnels, it does. Runnels stays up. The show's off his 4-3 wheels. Incredible effort for Runnels.
The G5 Hive. All G5, all the time.
Welcome to the G5 Hive Live, and we are excited to bring you the G5 college football coverage you love each and every week. I am Justice. Luke is having some technical difficulties. Hopefully, he will be able to join us here momentarily. While Luke's working on his issues, we hit a special milestone this past week. We had 1,000 followers on X. So we want to thank everyone for all their support. We can't thank you enough for that. And if you're not following us on X, please go follow us on X. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube, please subscribe to our YouTube. And if you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. If you're watching on X, please give us a follow, a like, and a retweet. And if you're listening in podcast form, please rate and review. Also, don't forget the G5 Hive merchandise store is now live. The link is in the YouTube video comments, and it is also here on the bottom of your screen on YouTube. Luke, welcome.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. This is I don't know what's going on. Bad juju. I don't know. It's been a weird day. Had today off. We got obviously Thursday off for Thanksgiving. I had Friday off, so I took the 3 day for a whole week off. I thought that would be great. I'm out of my groove, out of my routine. I go to blog everything in and nothing's working. So I'm using my computer speakers instead of an earbud. So let me know if you hear any echoing, and I'll have to work on that. But I kind of missed a little bit at the beginning, but you did the intro. That's usually like my thing. It's like Bizarro World. It's like upside down land over here. I was thinking about doing a really cool intro this time, kind of like a
you have to save it for next week.
Yeah, kind of like a D-Generation X. I'm a big wrestling guy, at least when I was younger. You know, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. You know, whole type.
Don't
of
ruin
thing.
it. Wait, save it for next week.
All right. But yeah, not too bad. So, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. I have a cold, so that sucks. But other than that, I'm doing all right.
For once, my oldest and my wife got sick. I think my daughter's starting to get sick, but so far, like, knock on wood, I've been like dodging this thing, and usually I'm the first. Like, once I have a kid go down, I'm usually the next one.
Yeah, it usually starts with my wife or kids. This time it started with me, so not sure where I got it or how I got it, but nonetheless, here it is.
All right. Well, G5 Hive Players of the Week. We have offensive Freshman of the Week, running back Bryson Donaldson. Bryson Donaldson is a 5'11", 200-pound running back from Central Valley Christian High School by way of El Monte, both in Visalia California. Not sure on the pronunciation, but he led the state in California with 58 total touchdowns in 2023. He also led the state with 3,297 rush yards. Donaldson had 199 yards coming into week 13. And he got the party started for the Bulldogs with a 16-yard touchdown run to tie the game up at 7. Donaldson ends up finishing the day with 13 carries for 150 yards and 1 touchdown in the Bulldogs' big 28-22 win over Colorado State in week 13. Congratulations, Bryson.
Our defensive freshman of the week, defensive end Juwan Campbell, Jacksonville State. This is the second time that Juwan has won our freshman defensive player of the week. Juwan had 7 tackles, 3 solos, 1 tackle for loss, and 1 sack in the Gamecocks' victory over Sam Houston in week 13. Juwan has had an impressive true freshman season so far with 33 tackles, 17 solos, 8 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery for the Gamecocks here in 2024. Congrats, Juwan.
All right. My offensive player of the week, none other than quarterback Tyler Huff, Jacksonville State. Tyler Huff went 9 for 12 for 54 yards passing. However, he did a lot of his damage with his legs. Tyler led the Gamecocks with 30 carries for 177 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. Tyler made the big plays when they were needed. That included a 38-yard touchdown run in the first half, and it kind of felt like the Gamecocks controlled the game from that point on. After a Sam Houston missed field goal, which could have tied it at 14, Tyler Huff led a 80-yard drive and capped it off with a 7-yard touchdown run. The win is Jacksonville State's 8th straight, and they've clinched its first berth in Conference USA championship game. Congratulations to Tyler and the Gamecocks.
My offensive player of the week was quarterback Braylon Braxton Marshall. Braylon was on fire this week. He threw for 210 yards and 3 touchdowns while adding 140 yards on the ground to lead the Thundering Herd to a big Sun Belt victory over Old Dominion in Week 13. He earned Oyster Bowl MVP in the process and kept the Herd in first place in the Sun Belt East. Congrats, Braylon. My defensive player of the week, Sean Dolak, linebacker Buffalo. Sean turned in a strong performance this week with 9 tackles, 4 solos, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss, 2 interceptions, including a 60-yard pick six to lead the Bulls in their victory over Eastern Michigan in Week 13. Sean has been one of the best linebackers in the entire country this season. Congratulations, Sean.
My defensive player of the week, none other than linebacker Jamori Robinson, UTSA. Jamori had a big night last Friday. He had 7 total tackles, 6 of which were solos, and 5.5 were tackle for losses. On top of that, he had 4 sacks. Those 5.5 tackles for losses and 4 sacks were a school record, and those 4 sacks helped him climb the NCAA leaderboard for sacks this season, which he is currently tied for 8th with 9.5. Jamori's fantastic play on Friday helped the Roadrunners to a 51-27 win over Temple. According to NBA Jam rules, UTSA is on fire. Congratulations, Jamori, on the huge night. All right, Justice, what does the Swarm need to know? Billy, welcome, Billy.
Glad to see you, Billy. One of our best supporters here every week. Glad to have you. We're going to play a fun game here shortly. But before we get to that, we got some news and notes this week. We'll start off with some head coaching news. Central Michigan head coach Jim McElwain is retiring. He spent 6 seasons as a Chippewas head coach, where he went 33-35. He won the MAC West twice during his time. He was also won a MAC Coach of the Year award. McElwain will remain on board as head coach until a new head coach is hired, and then he will move into a new position as special assistant to the athletic director. Tulsa fired head coach Kevin Wilson just yesterday, I think. Wilson was 7-16 in his 2 seasons at Tulsa. Ryan Switzer was named the interim head coach. He was formerly the wide receiver coach and recruiting coordinator. And that's important because Tulsa has recruited extremely well for a G5. So I feel like this is kind of Switzer's audition for the full-time job. If the name Ryan Switzer sounds familiar to you, because it probably is. He was a wide receiver at North Carolina, where he was a 2-time All-American as a return specialist and a 4-time All-ACC player. He also played in the NFL with the Dallas Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Texas State has agreed to a new 7-year contract with head coach G.J. Kinney. The contract averages $2 million per year for 7 years, with the potential for bonuses to add to that, and it runs through the 2031 season. My own opinion of this contract is it basically keeps him from moving to another G5. I know the prevailing thought was that before the season, I think a lot of people thought, hey, he's going to have, if he had the season he was expected to have, I think folks thought, he's going to get poached by the P4. I don't see that happening after what I would characterize as a disappointing season for Texas State compared to what their expectations were. And so this contract, I think, just kind of makes sure he's not going to leave for another G5, but obviously a P4 can offer a lot more than $2 million per year. But I think they're safe for at least another year as far as that goes. Yale head coach Tony Reno has emerged as the favorite for the Rice job. They're expected to have an announcement this week announcing that. Reno has been the Yale head coach since 2012. He has won 4 conference titles and is currently 7-2 with an overall record of 74-46 in his time at Yale. One interesting thing to point out, Tony Reno's son, Dante Reno, is a freshman quarterback at South Carolina who signed in the 2024 class. The 6'2", 214-pound freshman threw for 2,358 yards and 20 touchdowns as a senior, adding 8 rushing scores. He was an Under Armour All-American and an Elite 11 finalist as a high school star. And so, put 2 and 2 together. Maybe they hire Reno, then maybe Dante is going to follow in his dad's, follow his dad over to Rice with the season that Lenora Sellers is having there for South Carolina.
I'm kind of curious because obviously, Rice is a pretty prestigious academic school. Tough to get in there. I am curious, if your dad, or if you have a family member that's working, I guess a mom or a dad that's working for the university, you usually get tuition free or something like that, right? So, if you don't have the grades to get into that school, does that trump because your parents are there? You still get in? Because that would be kind of an interesting, kind of a loophole. It's maybe Dante maybe doesn't have the grades to get into Rice. This is all speculation. But then, hey, if my dad works there, then I can get in. I wonder how that is.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that works for employees of the university. I think, I would think it's safe to say that most universities have a normal student minimum requirement and then an athlete minimum requirement. I don't know that those are exactly the same requirements. But I don't know how a student or a family or an employee of the university, how that plays into that equation at all.
Gotcha.
East Carolina is expected to remove the interim tag from head coach Blake Harrell. Harrell has gone 4-0 since being named the interim and has the Pirates bowl eligible, and they will end the season with their winning record. The ECU Board of Trustees will make it official at this Wednesday morning meeting. But it's already there. It's already out there. It's just not, quote, official yet. Another interesting thing that happened right around the same time the head coaching change, they changed quarterbacks. They went from Jeff Garcia to Caton Hauser, and that offense has looked dynamite since that change. So, quarterback change, a head coaching change, and now all is well in the land of East Carolina.
And we talked about it last week. Was it the coaching change or was it the quarterback change? I tend to lean that it was a quarterback change, but also the coach made that decision, so kind of made his own bet.
Well, he made that decision, and maybe, I mean, we don't know what happened behind the scenes. Maybe he was the one like putting the clamp down on the offensive coordinator, and Blake Harrell's kind of let the offensive coordinator go. But yeah, we don't know. Lyle, we will get to that momentarily, but we'll talk about it here in a minute. It already happened in one case, but when we say stop the steal, we're talking about G5 players that deserve national recognition, like Ashton Jeanty winning the Heisman, Sean Dolak winning the Butkus Award, Harold Fannin Jr. winning the Mackey Award, Nick Nash winning the Bolitnikoff Award, or Mike Green winning the Hendricks Award. So, in other words, getting these guys are the top of their position. They play in the G5 and they deserve those national awards. That's what the stop the steal means. All right, getting to some player news. Florida Atlantic running back Zuberi Mobley has entered the transfer portal. Mobley has been an effective runner this year. Kind of been a 1A, 1B with him and CJ Campbell, but he has decided that he wants to move on from Florida Atlantic. Ball State's leading wide receiver, Justin Bowick, elected to sit out the remainder of the season to preserve a redshirt year. They did not say he was going to enter the transfer portal, but who knows at this point. Central Michigan quarterback Bert Emanuel Jr. says he plans to enter the transfer portal. Bert Emanuel Jr., I guess it's been 3 seasons ago now where he was like kind of electric towards the end for Mac. The last 2 seasons he's played sparingly off and on. He got injured this year, did not play very much. So he's going to enter the transfer portal. So stay tuned to kind of see where he ends up. Moving on to some injury news. Wyoming quarterback Caden Anderson is doubtful to play in Week 14. In the event that he can't go, quarterback Evan Swoboda will be the starter. Utah State quarterback Spencer Petras left the game early in Week 13. Bryson Barnes came in and played spectacular in his absence, and Petras is doubtful to play in Week 14. Marshall running back A.J. Turner returned versus Old Dominion in Week 13, but he was not very effective in the game. He did not get very many carries, so I think he was definitely not 100%. Hopefully he'll be back to 100% this week in what will be a big game for them against JMU. Northern Illinois running back Ontario Brown has missed the last several weeks. He is once again not on the Week 14 depth chart, so don't expect Ontario Brown back this week for the Huskies. Utah State running back Rasul Faison left the game early, and he's extremely doubtful to play in Week 14, which will mean running back Herschel Turner kind of be the next man up. Texas State wide receiver Joey Hobart is injured. No word on what his availability will be for this coming week. Same with East Carolina wide receiver Chase Sewell. He injured his hamstring in Week 12, did not play in Week 13. Staying on with East Carolina, wide receiver Winston Wright Jr. also got banged up and missed this week as well. Ohio wide receiver Coleman Owen, who got hurt early in the game this past week. I think he had like 1 catch in the first quarter, and then after that he was hurt. Didn't play the rest of the game. They're saying he's a game time decision, but it is trending or looking like he will play this coming week. Wyoming tight end John Michael Gillenborg was able to return in Week 13, so he should be good to go this week. And finally, Bowling Green tight end Harold Fannin Jr. is a game time decision for Week 14. We believe that he will play. He landed weird and went to the locker room in Bowling Green's game against, I believe they played Ball State this past week. He came back with his helmet on, but he never went back in the game because they didn't really need him. So the belief is that, hey, he's likely okay and that he should he should be okay to play this week. But the official word is that he is a game time decision.
All right, G5 in the AP top 25. Boise State moves up one spot after their win over Nevada to number 11. Tulane.
They're still above Arizona State, so they're still above the Big 12 highest ranked person in the AP poll.
And then Tulane. So I guess Boise State moved up after their win over Wyoming. Sorry. Tulane with their win over Navy moves up 2 spots to number 18. UNLV with their win over San Jose State. Wow, what a game that was. They move up 2 spots to number 21. Army with their loss to Notre Dame dropped 7 spots to number 25. Others receiving votes, we've got Memphis, number 27 with 46 votes. Louisiana, number 32 with 5 votes. And that is that's it.
Yeah, the I guess the interesting thing is last week Boise State was ranked in the AP above BYU. BYU lost. Arizona State is now the number 1 ranked team in the AP for the Big 12. Boise State is still ahead of them. Tulane is still behind the Big 12 highest ranked team, as well as obviously UNLV and Army. In the college football playoff poll, which releases on Tuesday evenings, last week Boise was number 12, BYU is number 14 in that, Army was 19, Tulane was 20, UNLV was 24, and Arizona State was 21 at that time. You expect the Arizona State's going to jump up there, perhaps the number 14 where BYU sat, but we'll find out tomorrow. I would expect Boise to move up a little bit there as well. Army's going to drop, and then Tulane and UNLV probably move up. But the thing to watch is the important thing would be if 2 G5s can pass the Big 12, whoever the Big 12 champion is, right? Because if that happens, then the Big 12 doesn't get an automatic bid. It'll be the ACC, the SEC, the Big 10, and the 2 G5s. The way it's written, it doesn't say that the Power 4 get automatic bid. It says the top five ranked conference champions get an automatic berth. So it's still quite feasible that 2 G5s can pass the Big 12 winner, and that would be huge. The
Big 12 is just this big cluster of 2 lost teams and 3 lost teams. Like if there's certain things play just right, that Big 12 is going to be a mess.
It is, and like I hope it happens, right? Because I'd love to see two G5s crash the party. One thing I'm sure that would happen is the next time it's up for decision, they will make sure to change that so that doesn't happen again, just because of the P4 bias. But hey, love to see it happen this year while it can happen.
I do have a question for you. Let's say UNLV gets their win. Colorado State loses. UNLV versus Boise State in the championship game. UNLV wins, but Army beats Tulane in the American Championship. Would you think that Army would have a shot? And let's say everything else falls in a way that 2 G5 teams would make it. Do you think?
I think the only way 2 G5s will make it is Boise's got to win out and Tulane has to win out. I think that's the only way. I think if UNLV or Army win out, I mean, one of them's going to get in, obviously, but they're both not going to pass the Big 12. I don't think. I don't see it happening. It's got to be Tulane and Boise State they've got to win out. They're the two highest ranked teams today. I think it's got to be them to in order for two G5s to make the playoffs. All right. So if you're watching us on YouTube, we got the Hero Sports G5 Top 25 poll through week 13 as we head into week 14. For those that are listening in podcast form, we got number 1, Boise State, number 2, Tulane, number 3, UNLV, number 4, Army, number 5, Memphis, 6, Jacksonville State, 7, Louisiana, 8, Marshall, 9, Bowling Green, 10, Liberty, 11, Navy, 12, Miami, 13, JMU, 14, Ohio, 15, Western Kentucky, tied with Sam Houston at 15, 17, Colorado State, 18, Connecticut, 19, Georgia Southern, 20, Toledo, 21, South Alabama, 22, Fresno State, 23, East Carolina, 24, Arkansas State, and 25, UTSA. We are voters in this poll, and we've talked about our differences. And if you've been watching us the last couple of weeks, you could probably guess our first biggest difference is Bowling Green. We're much higher on Bowling Green than they are. We had been having Bowling Green in our top 10. Everyone else kind of had them in the teens, like 14 or so. Everyone else has kind of got them to 9. We have them at 4, so we have them in our top 5 now. Other than Bowling Green, we have Miami at 9 versus 12 in this poll. The consensus is much higher on Liberty than we are. We have Liberty at 20. The consensus has them at 10. Buffalo, we had at 16. They were in others receiving votes. So they didn't quite make the top 25 here. And then we had Colorado State at 22. The consensus has Fresno State at 22. They played this past week. Fresno State won, but that was Colorado State's first conference loss. Fresno State has a couple. And so, I don't know, maybe there's just some recency bias there. Not sure. Probably a big reason why Liberty jumped up so far as well. Liberty won this week. I did not get to watch that game, but I can tell you up to this week, they had not impressed me at all. But yeah, those are our big differences. Anything surprise you, Luke?
Just that Liberty's at number 10. They haven't been playing well, and when we do this, I always get try to I'll put out all the records and whatnot. It's I want to put them up there, but then when I watch what I'm watching on the field, I just can't. In a neutral field, you put Liberty against this team. I'm not so sure that they're going to win that, and it's I don't know which team is which. When you get to, honestly, up through those top 9 there, I feel pretty good. I know what team I'm going to get every single week. Even Miami, I feel pretty good about. Everybody JMU at 13. I don't know what team I'm getting. Navy's been pretty good up until the Horvath injury. But yeah, it's those top 9. I feel really good about rolling those ones out there. UTSA, they've been rolling lately. ECU been rolling lately, but I guess Sam Houston, I can't remember where we had them last week, but their drop.
I think we had them in number 10. I think we have in our poll, in our votes. I think they were number 10.
They play this week, Sam Houston versus Liberty, and I would take Sam Houston. Just their just overall team, their defense is carrying them for sure. But I like Sam Houston.
Well, Billy wants to know who do we think's better between the top 2, Boise and Tulane. For me, it's Boise. I think offensively the teams are comparable, but I think defensively Boise State is a better defensive team than Tulane, and for that reason, I would give them the edge on a neutral field. Boise State played Oregon tough, man. They had an opportunity to win that game, and maybe they should have won that game. Tulane did not show well against Oklahoma. I mean, I know Oklahoma beat Alabama this past week, but Oklahoma has not been good at all. And Oklahoma beat Tulane pretty good. Granted, earlier in the year. But yeah, I think, for me anyway, Boise is clearly the better team. What do you think, Luke?
Yeah, I would go with. Now, if you were to do it in Tulane or like at Tulane, I would probably put the spread at Boise State like 1.5. I think it would be a lot closer. But yeah, overall, give me Boise State. All right. Our undefeated teams through 13 weeks, no more. No more undefeated teams in the G5 after Army Black Knights lose to Notre Dame. Our winless teams through 13 weeks, we do have one survivor. Not a good thing, though.
That's not a good thing to survive.
No, it's not. Kent State Golden Flashes lost to Akron on Tuesday night. They've got Buffalo this Tuesday. Tomorrow, if you're listening to us tonight, if you're listening to us Tuesday, it's later today. They are the only winless team in the G5, and their current losing streak is now up to 20 in a row. G5 bowl counts. Currently, we have 30 G5 teams that are eligible for bowls. I could read all of those, but I know you don't want to hear all of them. So I'm just going to give you the new additions. With wins this last week, in week 13, South Florida Bulls going bowling. UTSA Roadrunners going bowling. Fresno State Bulldogs and South Alabama Jaguars both are going bowling.
It's
right.
I haven't done the math yet, but I saw someone today that talked about the possibility of some 5-win teams are going to have to get in if things shake out just to be able to fill all the bowls. So then it goes, I think, APR with the 5-win teams. And they were saying, I think Air Force could potentially be the top 5-win APR team. So yeah, stay tuned to kind of see. We will know after next week what that situation looks like in terms of how many teams are bowl eligible and how many spots are available. I mean, they ran into it last year, but they had some 6-win teams like Jacksonville State and JMU who were on in their transition year. They became bowl eligible because there weren't enough normal 6-win teams to get in. All right, if you're still with us, Lyle, now we're going to talk about we're going to play a game, and we're going to talk about the steal. So last week we talked about the Butkus Award and who we thought deserved that Butkus Award. This week, if you're listening on YouTube or Twitter, we want to play a game. Here in front of you, we have the stats of 6 individual players, all linebackers. 5 of these players are finalists for the Butkus Award, which is the award to the best linebacker in college football. 5 are finalists. 1 of these players is not a finalist. So let's play a little game. If you're watching us, and take a guess which one of these 6 is not the finalist. You have a guess, Billy? If you're watching on YouTube, watching on Twitter, shoot us a guess.
We're not gonna read out all these stats because this would make for awful podcasting if you were to read out all of these things. But I think the big thing to highlight is there is a difference between the highest amount of tackles to the person on here with the lowest amount of tackles.
Almost 100.
Yeah, is at
98. One player on this list has 98 more tackles than the other guy. He's got 3 times as many stops, 5 times as many interceptions, sacks. They're close. Double the amount of tackles for losses. And if you look at missed tackle percentage, the guy with 100 more tackles, his missed tackle rate is 3.6%, and the other guy with the 48 tackles, His tackle rate's 14%.
Billy says
Billy says top center. Good guess. That's a good guess, but that's not right. I can tell you who the top center is. The top center is linebacker Carson Schwessinger, UCLA, and he is definitely deserving to be a finalist. You want to give us one more guess there, Billy, before we reveal the faces of these 6 players, and then you'll automatically know who's not the one representative
or anybody else. We got 72 live
Anybody
on
else?
Twitter,
YouTube.
Nobody has a thought.
We've eliminated the top center here. That's Carson Schwessinger, UCLA. He is a finalist for the Butkus Award. Anyone else want to take a guess before we move on who the non-finalist is?
I just can't believe we got 72 people here on X not willing to put out a guess.
All right, Billy. Yeah, you nailed it this time. The bottom center guy, the guy that has the most tackles, the most stops, the most interceptions, second most sacks, the most tackles for loss, and the lowest tackle rate is not a finalist for the best linebacker.
Missed tackle.
You want tackle rate. Sorry.
You want to be able to tackle.
Yeah, the lowest missed tackle rate, which is kind of crazy considering he has the most tackles. So he has way more opportunities to miss. But yeah, he is the bottom center is the guy. The bottom center is Sean Dolak, linebacker from University of Buffalo. Do you notice anything else? So we know Sean Dolak is not a finalist. These other 5 guys are finalists. What do you notice about those 5, Luke?
All P4.
They're all P4 guys. We got Barrett Carter, linebacker Clemson. Carson Schwessinger, linebacker UCLA. Danny Stutzman, linebacker Oklahoma. Chris Paul Jr., linebacker Ole Miss. And Jalen Walker, linebacker Georgia. And I will tell you, as someone that watches a lot of football and pores over a lot of stats, they didn't even get the P4 guys right. Like Anthony Hill Jr., like, hello, come on. Like, there's absolutely no way on God's green earth that Jalen Walker should be a finalist for the Butkus Award. I'm sorry. Like, look at his stats. Like, even if you take the next lowest guy, the next lowest linebacker in tackles is almost double him. Like, there's absolutely no way Jalen Walker should be a finalist for the Butkus Award. So part of me makes me feel happy that they snubbed Anthony Hill Jr. Anthony Hill Jr. deserves to be on this list. But Sean Dolak deserved to be a finalist too. Personally, I think he's the best linebacker in college football today. I realize he plays for the G5, but just look at the numbers. I mean, he puts up the numbers. He has the lowest missed tackle rate. He's got the most stops. Stops are a stat, of stopping the opposing offense on 3rd or 4th down. That's very important. And so, it's just an absolute sham, in my opinion, that Sean Dolak is not even a finalist. Like, I get that there would be P4 bias in the final vote, and it'd be hard for Sean Dolak to be the actual award recipient, even if he is deserving. But to not even be a finalist, that's ludicrous. It's ludicrous. The fact that Jalen Walker, looking at his stats, is a finalist for the Butkus Award, that's just like it should be an embarrassment to Dick Butkus, an embarrassment to his name that he puts Jalen Walker as a finalist and not Sean Dolak. Or if you even want to stay P4, not Anthony Hill Jr. But, Sean Dolak's resume was number 1 in tackles, number 1 in stops, number 1 in interceptions, number 4 in tackles for loss, and the lowest missed tackle rate of 3.6%. So when we say stop the steal, in this case, it was stolen. Stolen that he wasn't a finalist. To me, that's just absurd. You got any thoughts, Luke, before we move on?
No, you we're very passionate about it. And I don't want to, take away from that. Like, there's nothing more I could add. I'm much more of an offensive guy, and you're deep into the defensive stuff. But like, I know enough that, like, what are we doing? Like, what do these really mean?
I don't know.
Like,
if you ask me to name the finalists, there's only one person in that final group that I would have named. And I named him last week. And that was Carson Schlesinger. I said he was deserving. I had Anthony Hill Jr. I had Jahad Campbell. I don't remember who else I had last week, other than Sean Dolak. But yeah. I mean, it's not a good list in my opinion in terms of the best linebackers in the country. Leaving off Sean Dolak as a finalist just blows my mind.
all right, give me a second here as I get prepped. We have our Week 13 games in review. We have our midweek G5 matchups where we had Akron at Kent State. Ben Finley, 14 for 29, 250 yards, 1 touchdown. Simmons with 11 carries, 113 yards, and Norton with 5 receptions for 107 yards. Again, gets the W.
Yeah, that's the one Tuesday night game I did not watch any of. I spent my time watching the other 2 games. Kent State has not played well. Akron got off to an early lead, and that game was pretty much over at halftime.
I should also mention that Charles Killiam and Jordan Simmons both went over 100 yards in that game. So Akron rushing attack. Big one. We got Western Michigan at Central Michigan. This one was not the outcome that I had anticipated, but Central Michigan gets the W, 16-14. Glasser with 140 yards passing, 1 interception. Marion Lukes, 15 carries for 93 yards. And then Davis with 3 receptions, 73 yards for Central Michigan. And Solomon Davis, sorry.
This I watched this game, or most of this game, and the takeaway for me there, I certainly expected Western Michigan would win, but the Central Michigan defense played lights out. They were harassing Hayden Wolf all night long, and as someone that's watched Hayden Wolf play many times in person, he does not handle pressure well at all, and Central Michigan was pressuring him all night, and that was really the difference in the game. That the defense of Central Michigan played lights out, harassed Hayden Wolf, and that Western Michigan offense just couldn't get things going.
All right. Northern Illinois at Miami. Miami pulls out the win 20-9. Brett Gabbert, 207 yards passing, 1 INT. Mosey with 14 carries for 91 yards for Miami of Ohio. No touchdowns. That's kind of par on course for Miami of Ohio. He'll get close to 100, if not over, and just doesn't seem to be getting those touchdowns. And then 4 receptions for 107 yards and a touchdowns for Reggie Virgil. What do you think about this one?
The story of this game was defense once again. That Miami of Ohio defense, we've talked about them the last several weeks. They didn't start the year off as stout as we expected them to be, but they have come on strong at the end of the season. That Miami defense is really stout with Matt Salopek, Ty Wise, and linebacker Brian Ugwu getting pressure on the opposing quarterback from his defensive end position. That Miami team looks like a team destined and primed to play for a MAC championship.
All right, moving over to Wednesday, we had Buffalo at Eastern Michigan. Cole Snyder, former Buffalo quarterback, now at Eastern Michigan. He was 24 for 33 for 351 yards and 3 touchdowns. Aljay Henderson for Buffalo, 25 carries, 86 yards rushing, 1 touchdown. And then Allen for Eastern Michigan, 9 receptions, 187 yards. and 1 touchdown by Allen. Marcus Allen. I'm really bad at giving these first names. But yeah, this one was a fun game if you got a chance to watch it.
Yeah, it was like every time, but it felt like every time Eastern Michigan got some momentum going, Buffalo would like hit them with a dagger. Whether it was the 75-yard touchdown catch by L.J. Henderson, the 60-yard pick six by Sean Dolak, like every time you thought Eastern Michigan, hey, they're gonna make a comeback, they're getting back in this game, Buffalo would like just hit them with a dagger straight to the heart, man.
Yeah, there was a couple trades of 70-plus yard touchdowns in this one.
Yeah, it was. It was a good game. It was a good game. A lot of ebbs and flows, but like I said, that Buffalo, Buffalo would get it. Was it offensively or defensively? Whenever Eastern Michigan would get some momentum, would kind of have a big play and swing the momentum back in their favor.
All right, and then next game on Wednesday, we had Ohio at Toledo. Ohio wins 24-7. Tucker Gleason, 9 for 17, 136 yards passing, 1 touchdown. Anthony Tyus, the third, 33 carries, 125 yards, and 1 touchdown. And then Caleb Gassett, is that right? Caleb Gassett? Because he took over. He had a big game when Coleman Owen
went out.
I'm trying to remember his stats. It was something like 80, 90 yards, 6 receptions.
He had 6 catches for 86 yards.
Yeah, so this was a tough loss there for Toledo, but prime spot there for Ohio to make the MAC championship game.
It was an ugly game in the first half. It was 7-0 Toledo. They had the 1 touchdown drive, and to be honest with you, that was the only drive they had the whole game. They didn't score anymore the rest of the game, and they didn't really do much on offense the rest of the game. Ohio struggled on offense in the first half. I mean, it was pretty brutal. But then the second half, they got Anthony Tyus going. Parker Navarro got going on the ground. They both ended up with over 100 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns on the ground between the two of them. And Ohio defense, man, they pretty much shut that Toledo offense down and Tucker Gleason. Towards the end of the game, they actually pulled Tucker Gleason and inserted John Allen Richter because they thought they would have to pass more. And I guess Richter has a better arm or is a better passer than Gleason. But he wasn't able to get anything going either. That Ohio defense they got some ballers. They got Bradley Weaver, Marcel Walker Burgess on that defensive line, Shea Taylor at linebacker, Austin Brawley safety. That Ohio defense is, I would say, in my opinion, is right up there with Miami of Ohio in terms of the top defenses in the MAC. And they showed it on Wednesday night against Toledo.
Well, if you want to go from one ugly game, let's go over to another ugly game. I know it's out of order, but let's just stick with the ugliness. On Friday night, we had UNLV at San Jose State, and that rain that they had, that was just a gross. I thought it was going to be a great shootout, just so bad. UNLV went 7-16. Surprisingly, like San Jose State was winning at halftime, 16-10. And if you're doing the math, I said 27-16 was the final. So that wasn't great. Hajj Malik Williams, 11 for 20, 131 yards passing, 1 touchdown. Jaden Thomas, UNLV, 26 carries, 135 yards, 1 touchdown. And Ricky White, the third, 7 receptions for 98 yards. I don't know what was going on. I don't know what coach has on Emmett Brown, because I would have thought that he would have made it appear. I don't know what's going on.
I mean, the weather was awful. There's no denying that. The weather was awful. It was pouring down rain. It was windy.
UNLV played in the same weather, though.
Oh, that's going to be my point. Hajj Malik Williams was 11 for 20. Walker Eggett was 4 for 22. 4 for 22. He was god awful. It was bad. And No, not even a sniff of Emmett Brown. And it just absolutely blows my mind. Like, we've talked about it numerous times on the show. Like, the offense functions so much better under Emmett Brown. Obviously, the coaches don't agree, and they are committed to that decision. Emmett Brown must have slept with the coach's daughter or something, man, because it doesn't make any sense.
I think hits the transfer portal, and
absolutely,
he would actually be pretty fun, I think, at Hawaii.
I think he does absolutely hit the portal. Yeah, no question.
All right, now to a little bit better of a game, at least playing wise, happened earlier in the night. UTSA versus Temple. UTSA wins 51-27. Dante Wright, Temple wide receiver, having a great year. He has 5 receptions, 128 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Robert Henry for UTSA. He was a beast. 16 carries, 178 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. Owen McCowan, 20 for 27, 220 yards, and a touchdown. Chris Carpenter had a kickoff return game. But yeah, the UTSA, they are the last 3-4 weeks. They are really starting to click. And if they would have played like that earlier in the season, wow. Probably could have won the American.
Yeah, this wasn't much of a game. UTSA was blowing them out from the get-go. Like you said, it's good to see UTSA kind of get to where everyone expected. And they've been on a roll here lately, and hopefully they can carry that momentum over and into 2025.
All right, our G5 versus P4 matchup. Let's see here. We have UConn at Syracuse. Give me a quick second.
Connecticut played them tough. Didn't get the win, obviously, but I thought that they played Syracuse tough.
I did not get to watch any of that game, so I've got no opinions of it.
Kyle McCord had an awesome game. 474 yards, 470 yards, 2 touchdowns. I expected Connecticut to lose, but they kept it close within 7. So I think as far as I'm concerned, I consider that a win for Connecticut. They handled themselves well in the game. They weren't embarrassed. Yeah.
All right. Another one, UMass at Georgia. I was actually surprised because when I saw the ticker, I saw UMass up 7-0. Georgia ends up winning 59-21. But I do think the 21 is kind of interesting. I did tune into that game a little bit. UMass kicker missed a couple field goals. Georgia pulls away. But yeah.
And they're on their second string really quarterback, well. UMass is. So I don't know, the fact they put up 21 on Georgia, I consider that a win as well, because I wouldn't have expected to put any points on Georgia.
Yeah, they just ran the ball really well, which I didn't think you could do against that Georgia defensive line. But yeah, they did really, really good job there. Then you had kind of the opposite. It was
good for a quarter.
Yeah, we got UTEP at Tennessee is 0-0 after the end of the first. And then Tennessee kind of turned it on. They win 56-0. I don't know if there's really much to talk about here.
Not much positive to take away other than the first quarter, where UTEP played well.
And then another game. As I search for, I got to come up with something a little bit better here. I don't know what's going on. Everything's messed up on my screen here. But another game was Louisiana Tech at Arkansas. This one, again, was a lot closer at the very beginning of the day. I'm still trying to find everything. So
yeah, this was 0-0 after the first quarter.
0-0 at the end of the first quarter. 35-14 was the final in this one. I did not put any eyes on it, but yeah, 14-0 at halftime. I was kind of surprising there for Louisiana Tech.
It was respectable.
And then the game we were all kind of looking forward to, and that was Army versus Notre Dame. And Notre Dame handled business. It was similar to the game that they had against Navy a couple weeks before. I would assume that kind of helped them seeing that before Army, to be honest, because I do think.
Well, I would say this one was even more impressive than the game against Navy because Navy had a lot of turnovers. Their Army did not have a lot of turnovers. They only had one fumble in the game, one turnover. And so the game against Navy had like 3 or 4 turnovers.
Yeah.
This was a much more dominant performance by Notre Dame. But obviously, like you said, playing Navy probably helped.
And I think, Notre Dame put in their backups, I think, towards the end of the third quarter, maybe it's the whole fourth quarter. Yeah, Notre Dame gets the win over Army.
I mean, Bryson Daly did get 139 yards and 2 touchdowns in the game, but yeah, they other than that, they didn't do much else offensively.
All right. And then our Saturday featured G5 versus G5 matchups. We have Sam Houston at Jacksonville State. I was pumped for this one. As you know, the season has gone along, and I've got to know the teams a little bit more when we do our Worker Bee series and expectations. Sam Houston was searching for a win last year. The ball just kind of bounced the wrong way a couple times. So I was like, all right, I've adopted Sam Houston. I really like what they can do. They lose this one 21-11. Hunter Watson did a lot of work on the ground as well, kind of like Tyler Huff, but Tyler Huff with those 30 carries, 177 yards, 3 touchdowns. Noah Smith, 6 receptions for 65 yards for Sam Houston. Hunter Watson threw for 84 yards. This was like watching
Army versus Navy.
Yeah, this was watching Army versus Navy. It was just running the ball, quarterbacks running the ball. But like I mentioned earlier, when Tyler Huff took that like 38-yard run to the house, Sam Houston just had a hard time trying to get back. They had opportunities, but they missed a couple field goals too. So Sam Houston's special teams didn't do them any favors. They could have, and like I said, they could have tied the game at 14, missed the field goal. Tyler Huff takes them down there on that 14 play drive and scores there at the end. So
huge game for the winner.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
Jacksonville State. Yeah, locked them into the championship.
And then the next game, Western Kentucky at Liberty. Liberty wins 38-21. Quentin Cooley, big game, 166 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. Veltkamp, 262 through the air and 2 touchdowns. And then Keyshawn Johnson, wide receiver at Western Kentucky, 7 receptions, 94 yards, and a touchdown. I did not get eyes on this one.
It looks like turnovers was the tail of the tape.
I just watched like bits and pieces. I didn't watch enough to get like a vibes, but like I think I turned it on like 4 or 5 different times, and like 2 of those times were Cooley's touchdowns. Like,
Veltkamp had 3 interceptions. They also lost a fumble. Keyshawn Johnson lost a fumble, so he had 4 turnovers. Versus looks like Liberty only had 1 turnover. So that's I didn't watch the game. I was at ODU pretty much all day. But yeah, looks like the turnovers is what did Western Kentucky in.
And then let's see here. UL Monroe at Arkansas State. Arkansas State wins 28-21. Freshman Ahmad Hardy, 30 carries, 204 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. Jalen Rayner, 170 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. And then Jackson for Arkansas State, 6 receptions, 69 yards, and a touchdown. Courtney Jackson. Gosh, I'm awful at these first names. But yeah, this was a big game. And Rayner played well in this one, which is, again, he's been kind of up and down this season. But Arkansas State is 7 points each quarter. Ahmad Hardy had a big game. I think if you play at UL Monroe probably gets this win.
mean, UL Monroe's. I don't know that they're going to be able to hold on to Ahmad Hardy after this year. I think some folks with some money are going to come calling. But if they do manage to hold on to Ahmad Hardy, they got to get the guy some help. Like, he is their entire offense, and he can't win games by himself. The defense, which was playing phenomenal in the beginning of the year, has been a big letdown here in the second half of the year. So hopefully UL Monroe can hang on to Hardy and get him some help for next year.
All right, and then East Carolina at North Texas. East Carolina wins 40-28. Caden Hauser, 298 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. Rajah Harris, 24 carries, 128 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. And then this one was just on the ground. Rajah Harris, obviously the 3 touchdowns, but like they could run the ball really well, especially in that second half.
And North Texas blew a 21-point lead in this game.
Yeah, they were up 20. They were up 21-7 at half. East Carolina puts up 24 points in the third quarter, but Rajah Harris just sealed that game for them, and they just handled everything really well. Ever since they made that coaching change in this 4-game winning streak, Rajah Harris has really been utilized just incrementally more and more, and he's had double-digit touches the last 2 games, and I think in those 4 games, he's gone over 100 yards rushing in 3 of those 4 games. I think he had like 55 in one of the games, but he got a touchdown. Like they're putting him to good use, and he's benefited from the coaching change too.
North Texas, man, has just gone completely in the wrong direction. Like I said, they were up 21-0 in this game, and then they do nothing. That offense has not looked good since Damon Ward returned. Don't know why that is. I don't know if they're trying to force the ball to Ward versus some of the other receivers or what's going on. But I wouldn't be shocked if they continue this free fall that like Chandler
Morris.
No, well, not Chandler Morris. The head coach, Eric Morris, is fired.
Well,
it wouldn't shock me. I mean, they already fired the defensive coordinator in midseason.
Well, is North Texas in the American?
They are in the American.
Well, then there's a really good chance that the coach gets fired because that's like the only coaches that are losing their jobs.
I mean, they've lost 1, 2, 3. They've lost 5 in a row. They started the season 5-1, and now they are 0-5.
That's a position tree. Do you coach in the American? Yes or no? No, you're safe. Yes, you're on the chopping block.
I mean, they play Temple this week, and if they can't beat Temple to get to bowl eligibility, I feel confident saying that Eric Morris will lose his job.
All right. Talk about another team on a skid. Marshall versus Old Dominion. I'm going to tell you, Marshall's not on a skid.
Marshall's not on a skid.
Marshall wins this one 42-35. This one was a high-scoring game. If you check out any of my writing on Fantrax or whatnot, I did highlight Colton Joseph as a player to watch. He had a great game, 158 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns, 227 yards passing, 1 touchdown. But Marshall, Justice's player of the week, Braylon Braxton with a huge game as well. Talk us through it. What was it like being there?
Man, it was an exciting game because it felt like whoever had the ball last was going to win. Like neither defense was able to really stop the other offense. What was there was ODU's defense stopped Marshall one time in the second half. One time. That one time they stopped them on a 3-and-out. Marshall punted the ball, and the ODU guy proceeded to muff the punt, fumble the punt. Marshall got the ball like on the 14-yard line, 15-yard line. Very next play, touchdown Marshall. And so that was the turning point in the game. Just that mistake was a huge, shift in momentum, huge turning point. ODU special teams it was rough. It was rough. They had trouble on kickoffs all night. Matter of fact, I asked Coach Ronnie in the post-game press conference about that specific issue, and basically he said that they got burned a couple times in the kickoff return, and so they tried kicking the ball to different spots, different folks. It was just a mess. It was a mess, and Marshall was the better team. I will say, if there was a bright spot, Old Dominion held Mike Green, the nation's leader in sacks, pretty much in check. I was watching that. I was watching him all night, and the offensive line did a heck of a job against Mike Green. So kudos to the offensive line. The defense couldn't get a stop. ODU had the ball down a touchdown. I don't know, like 3 minutes left, and it was like 3rd and 6. And if it was me, I would have ran the ball on that play, got it to like 4th and 2, whatever, and then went for it on 4th down. ODU didn't. They passed the ball, then didn't go for it on 4th down. They're already down 7, only 3 minutes left of the game, and Coach Ronnie thought his defense, who hadn't gotten a stop but one in the whole second half, was going to get a stop. And we know how that ended. They didn't get a stop. ODU loses the game. Kudos to Marshall. They played a great game. Braylon, why Marshall did anything other than run Braylon Braxton or throw it to Christian Fitzpatrick, I have no earthly idea. Because ODU could not stop Christian Fitzpatrick, and they could not stop Braylon Braxton when he decided to run the ball.
That was, kind of, I think you mentioned it earlier a couple weeks ago when it got to this 4th down call, I think, and you're like, oh, coaches, we're going to punt it, and then called a timeout, and then they went for it, and you're like, oh, wow, that kind of, that was a shocker.
That was a couple weeks ago, yes.
What were you thinking about this one? You're like, oh, they're definitely gonna punt it, and then they do what they do.
He was asked that question during the post-game press conference, and his answer was, well, it's easy to second guess now, but I thought our defense would get a stop. Like, come on, dude. Like, I don't know. Like, this my mentality and Coach Ronnie's mentality, I think, are very different. I'd rather win trying to win versus what I characterize his coaching philosophy is win by trying to not lose. He's so conservative. And, your defense hasn't stopped that offense except for one time in the entire second half. You keep the ball in the hands of your offense and you keep going. Like, again, as soon as they threw the ball on that 3rd down play, I'm like, hey, they ain't going for it on 4th down. Because to me, if you're going to go for it on 4th, you can't get 6 yards running the ball in 2 plays. Something's wrong. So, yeah, conservative. A phrase I like to use when I describe his coaching philosophy: scared money doesn't make money, and that's kind of how he coaches.
And then to wrap up our games from week 13, we have Colorado State at Fresno State. Fresno State's been hasn't been super great lately. Colorado State, all you need to do is win, sets you up perfect for a Mountain West championship bid, as long as you can handle business in the next week. Fresno State comes out and wins this one 28-22, 7-7 at the end of the first quarter. 21 points put up by Fresno State in the second quarter, so they're up 28-7, and that's all they really needed in this one to cruise. Freshman Donaldson had the 12 carries for 140 yards and touchdown in our freshman of the week. This one was a game owned by Fresno State. Mikey Keene had a great game throwing the ball. And Colorado's just in catch-up mode the whole second half. The score makes it look a lot closer than it actually was. And Fresno State kind of plays a spoiler in Colorado's chances here at a Mountain West championship.
Yeah, Colorado State's first loss and probably ruins their shot at a conference championship. And speaking of that.
All right, our G5 conference championship race update. Walk us through it, Justice.
We'll start off with the American. This one's locked in regardless of what happens this week. You're going to have currently ranked number 25 in the AP poll, Army, versus number 18, Tulane. What I don't know is who hosts. I believe Tulane hosts, but I'm not 100% on that. But yeah, should be a good game, Army and Tulane. Again, if you're a fan of the G5, you want Tulane to win this week versus Memphis, and you want them to win the ACC championship game to get it ranked as high as possible and possibly jump that Big 12 winner. We'll do a full preview of these championship games next week. This week, we just kind of want to tell you where things sit and what has to happen for teams to make it to the championship. For the American, it's locked in, Army versus Tulane. Next up, Conference USA. One school is already locked in, and that is Jacksonville State. Regardless of what happens this week, Jacksonville State is locked in to that Conference USA championship game. And then we have a battle between three teams: Liberty, Western Kentucky, and Sam Houston. The Conference, got to give kudos to the Conference USA schedule makers. They did a dynamite job the last 2 weeks because these four teams all played each other the last 4 weeks. And so just kind of like a mini playoff, if you will, to get into the CUSA championship. So Jacksonville State's locked in. Liberty, what does Liberty have to do? Liberty has to beat Sam Houston. Liberty beats Sam Houston, they're in because they beat Western Kentucky and Sam Houston. They would have any tiebreakers over both of those teams. For Sam Houston to get into the championship game, first of all, they have to obviously beat Liberty, and then they need Jacksonville State to beat Western Kentucky. So Sam Houston doesn't really control their own destiny. They have to win, and then they need help, Jacksonville State, to beat Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky to get in, they have to beat Jacksonville State, and then they need Sam Houston to beat Liberty. So, it'll be interesting to kind of see what happens this week with Jacksonville State. I gotta imagine that they want to win, right? But I don't know. Like, you think Jacksonville State has a preference on who they play? I don't know, but they are a key decider in who they do play. I think Jacksonville State just wants to go crush everybody. So I don't think they really care who they play. I expect them to come out and romp Western Kentucky this week, and then let the Liberty Sam Houston game decide who else is going to join them.
You know what they want? They want to play fast. They want to get 25 first downs. That's all that Jacksonville State is concerned about, in my opinion.
Are they undefeated when they get 25 first downs?
That's just what Coach Rich Rod that's what he shoots for. He's like, you put yourself in I'm sure there's some sort of analytics around it, but 25 first downs is kind of that magic number that he shoots for.
Who do you think's going to get in? I mean, my gut tells me Jacksonville State's going to beat Western Kentucky. And so that eliminates them right from the get-go. So it comes down to who wins between Liberty and Sam Houston.
Give me the Bearcats. I really don't think – I just think that defense for Sam Houston is playing so strong that – and Liberty's just been so up and down. I just think Sam Houston gets this win. Obviously,
I think it's going to be a tight game. I think it'll be a close game.
It's good. They haven't been able to throw the ball well lately. Hunter Watson missed a couple throws. Again, their special team is going to have to be a lot better. But I just think that they're just going to run the ball the whole time. And honestly, because Liberty when they've had success, it's Quentin Cooley on the ground and running. But Sam Houston, I feel like, has got a defense that can stop them. And I don't feel comfortable that Liberty can stop the running attack for Sam Houston. So I lean Sam Houston.
All right, MAC championship. No one is locked in yet, but one thing, there is a game, and we'll talk about it. We'll get into it in more detail later. That the teams control their own destiny. The winner of the Miami, Ohio, and Bowling Green game is in. 100%. Whoever wins that game, they are in the championship. Ohio, if they win, they are in this game. Buffalo still has an opportunity. They have to win. They need Ohio to lose and Miami to lose.
Which I think Ohio could lose if Buffalo wins. Like,
they're not playing each other, I don't think.
No, they don't play each other. I just think that's a possibility. Like, I think that's a high possibility.
So Buffalo has to win. Ohio loses, Miami loses, and Buffalo is in. Now, Bowling Green can still get in if they lose. If Bowling Green loses, it would need Ohio to lose and Buffalo to lose, and they are in. And so, it's the wild MAC that we know to love. But the Miami versus Bowling Green game, for sure, we know whoever that is going to get in. My gut tells me it's going to be the winner of the Miami Bowling Green game, and Ohio is who I would predict will be in the MAC championship.
So we'll get to it later, but Ohio plays against Ball State, and Ball State's just been like this tricky team. Like, they're like really good, and depending on which Ohio quarterback Parker Navarro shows up, just like Ball State is this just pesky team. Granted, it's at Ohio, so you like Ohio there, but just Ball State just does. I just feel like they could be a spoiler, and I think that they could upset Ohio. But Ball State's also just been this team that's like up and down, depending on how they'll have their line of scrimmage gets worked the first half, and then they crush it the second half, or they crush it the first half and get worked the second half. They're just kind of all over. Miami, Ohio plays at Bowling Green. That'll be a good game either way.
All right, Mountain West Championship. Locked in is number 11, Boise State. The contenders are number 21, UNLV, and Colorado State. This one's really simple. UNLV wins and they're in. Colorado State would need to win and for UNLV to lose in order to make it in. UNLV and Colorado State did not play in the regular season, but the tiebreaker, because there's no head-to-head in this case, goes to whoever is ranked higher. Obviously, UNLV is ranked. Colorado State is not. I think it's a safe assumption if UNLV wins, they will stay ranked, even if Colorado State wins as well. And so UNLV wins, and they should be in. Colorado State, after the loss at Fresno, no longer really controls their own destiny. Again, for me, it's going to be Boise and UNLV. I don't see UNLV letting this opportunity pass them by. I love it from a Mountain West Championship game perspective. This is Boise State versus UNLV. I look forward to that rematch. We talked about it when it happened after game one. See what kind of adjustments UNLV would make against that Boise State pass rush. But for the greater good of the G5, I'm rooting for Boise State to go undefeated and stay ranked higher than the Big 12 team and get that bye. Moving over to the Sun Belt, this one is probably the most convoluted of them all. You got two
divisions.
Well, it's not just divisions. I mean, the Sun Belt, they're all pretty good teams. There aren't any really crappy teams. Maybe you could say Southern Miss, but short of Southern Miss, there aren't really any terrible teams in the Sun Belt. But there are two leaders. In the Sun Belt West, Louisiana, they win and they're in. It's as simple as that for them. For South Alabama to win the Sun Belt West, they have to win, and Louisiana loses, and then South Alabama would win the Sun Belt West. On the east side, again, pretty simple. Marshall wins, and they are in. They're the Sun Belt East champions. Georgia Southern would have to win, and then they need a Marshall to lose, and they're in, because then they'd all be tied, and Georgia Southern beat both Marshall and JMU. They would have the tiebreaker. JMU got probably the hardest path to get in my opinion. They have to have Marshall lose, Georgia Southern lose, and they have to win. They control a lot of that because they play Marshall, so they have to beat Marshall, and then they have to hope Georgia Southern loses in order for JMU to get in. But I don't know. I'm going to go with Marshall and Louisiana.
All right. So that's what's getting us prepped for Week 14. Now let's get to our Week 14 matchups. Our midweek G5 games. We've got Toledo at Akron, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Who do you got in this one?
Toledo. And I realized I just misspoke. JMU can't get in. They got 3 conference losses. So even if they win, they can't get in. So I messed that up. Yeah. They have 3 conference losses. Georgia Southern can get to 3 of the loss, but Marshall still would only have 2.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
It's really just Georgia Southern and Marshall.
It's really Georgia Southern and Marshall.
Gotcha. All right. Toledo, they're favored by 7.5, 49.5 over under. Give me Toledo in this one. Next, we've got Kent State at Buffalo, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Kent State, to their losing streak, go to 21. I say yes. Give me Buffalo. They are favored by 22.5, 49.5 over under. What say you, Justice?
Yeah. I mean, Kent State, they just, I don't know, like they start off okay in the first quarter or so, and then it just falls apart really, really quick. They got some issues there with the head coach. He's got a lawsuit against him for a defaulted loan. There's some other not so great rumors swirling around head coach.
I cannot imagine be there come next year.
Yeah, it seems like they're just waiting for the season end, and then probably part ways with Kenny Burns would be my guess. So yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. I'd go with Buffalo, and that's the end of action. The last night of action coming up tomorrow or tonight, depending on when you're listening to us. Toledo against Akron, Kent State against Buffalo, and that'll be the end of action, midweek action for the 2024 season.
And then a perfect game Thursday. Big event coming up, Thanksgiving. When you wake up from your nap, you can watch Memphis at Tulane. Tulane's favored by 14.5 over under 56.5. It's at Tulane. I think 14.5 is too much.
Yeah, I agree. I think Tulane wins the game, but I don't know if they win it by more than 2 touchdowns.
It's Memphis's offense is pretty good. The defense has been poor so far this year. So that's where I think Tulane's got the edge, and I think Tulane wins. It's also at Tulane. So that helps. But I would probably put this more at 7.5.
Yeah.
Or so.
I agree with you.
Memphis,
it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me if Memphis suddenly got right on both sides on defense and won the game either.
They're coming off their bye. I think that will help.
I don't expect Memphis to win, but I certainly don't expect them to lose by more than 14 either.
Yeah. So let's move into our Friday G5 games. We've got Miami at Bowling Green. Bowling Green is favored by 2 points, 41.5 over under. This is going to be a great MAC game like we teed it up for. This is your playoff.
This is a playoff game. This is a playoff game to get to the MAC championship, potentially.
If you want to go, ESPN tells me tickets are low as $8. So go ahead and make your trip there to Bowling Green. I think Bowling Green has the edge because at home, I think I'm going to lean Bowling Green on this one, and the reason is because of a certain tight end,
Harold Fannin Jr.
I think he's going to be the reason.
I'm gonna lean Miami. I'm gonna lean Miami of Ohio in this game. I think they're gonna beat Bowling Green at Bowling Green.
All right, Ball State at Ohio, Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern. Like I said, Ball State, depending on which team you get, if they can put a whole game together, usually it's half that defensive and offensive line. It's both line plays. They're just great for one half, not great for the other. This one, Ohio's favored by 14.5, 52.5 over under. Give me Ohio in this one, but this will be one that if Ohio doesn't hit the 14.5, I don't know, it's so Jekyll and Hyde with this Ball State team. But if they put up a solid showing, I would not be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll put up a fight, but I don't think they're going to be able to stop the Ohio offense. I think the Ohio defense will probably turn Ball State over a few times, and the Ohio defense is going to be the difference in this game.
Oregon State at Boise State, 12 p.m. Eastern time. Boise State favored by 20.5, 56.5 over under. Give me the unders in both this, and then I don't think Boise State covers the 20.5. You don't want to know why? This game's at 12 p.m. Eastern. Boise State does not play. I just don't think they're used to playing at this time. I think that's going to play into effect. Ashton Genty got slowed down last week. It looked like he tweaked his ankle. He's had his arm, ever since that hyperextension of his left arm, I think it was. He's had that. But I think he banged up. I think he got hurt pretty good this last week. Oregon State's been very porous on the ground. So Boise State should be able to run the ball. I do think they can win. Doesn't matter if it's Dubar or anybody else. I think they can win this one pretty easily. But honestly, I think the weird part is just the time. In when that is, and because you're just not used to playing at that time, and you usually have your routines that you do. I think it's going to play a bigger part, and I think maybe Boise State comes out of the gate slow. They've had a couple 3 weeks now where they've been tough to get started, and they finally turned it on in the second half. But give me Boise State. I just don't like the spread there.
I think Boise State's going to be able to run the ball at will against Oregon State. I think we'll see how healthy he is, because I think this is a prime opportunity to get Ashton Genty some Heisman votes. So we'll see how healthy he is, how much they rely on him.
The thing that hurts in the Stop the Steal campaign, Colorado plays at the same time. You've got Fox versus ABC. You've got Colorado against Oklahoma State also at 12 p.m. So that kind of sucks that you don't have this standalone. People are going to have to watch one or the other type thing.
Yeah.
All right. And then we've got Navy at East Carolina, 12 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Navy favored by 1, 56.5 over under. Give me East Carolina at home in this one. They're clicking on all cylinders right now. I get it. Navy before the bye, they've lost 2 in a row. I think it's actually going to be a high-scoring game because I think Navy's going to be able to move the ball on East Carolina pretty well, especially on the ground. But give me East Carolina.
Yeah, I mean Navy. No, if there's no Blake Horvath. I think the Navy's definitely in trouble. But it's two teams trending in opposite directions, right? Navy started off hot, and now is cooled off and trending down. East Carolina started off not so great, and then they've come on late. And so I'd ride the hot hand and East Carolina. The spreads of Navy, like you said, Navy -1. I think East Carolina wins the game outright.
Then we've got Liberty at Sam Houston Friday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Liberty favored by a field goal, over under 47.5. Give me Sam Houston. Give me the under. I just think Sam Houston is going to run the ball, and it's going to be like the Service Academy. They're going to run the ball, try to eat up the clock. I think they're going to be able to stop Liberty. Liberty hasn't been able to throw the ball particularly well, so they're going to lean on the run game. I think this game just moves quickly from a time standpoint due to the running, but Sam Houston's defense good enough to stop Liberty.
Yeah, I don't know. Gun to my head, I'm probably picking Liberty to win outright, but I don't know that I like Liberty to win by 3. It's just going to be a close game, man. It's going to be a tight game. If I was to play something, I'm probably playing the under on the over/under 47.5.
We'll see what Sam Houston's special teams. Sam Houston's special teams was so bad last week that it really cost them. So we'll see how that goes this week. Utah State at Colorado State, 3:30 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Colorado State favored by 6, 58.5 over/under. I kind of like Utah State in the points. I don't think I like Utah State to win, but Bryson Barnes played really well, ran the ball really well. But if they're down, they're running back. And if they're down, it doesn't sound like Petrus is going to play. I feel like that's going to be hard. But then Colorado State, who are they preparing for? I think that would be the hard part. Obviously, Colorado State's going to run the ball. This could come down to who's got the ball last in a oddly weird high-scoring game between Utah State and Colorado State.
Yeah, it's either or turnovers, right? I mean, pretty much any game can be turned on turnovers. Colorado State protects the ball fairly well, though. Utah State, I think with Barnes, they probably run the ball more. And again, protect it more. So you could be right. It could be whoever has the ball last.
But give me Utah State and the points. I don't know. I just don't like 6.
Yeah, I agree with you.
All right, Texas State at South Alabama, Friday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern at South Alabama. Texas State favored by 1, 60.5 over/under. This Texas State team, not sure what team is showing up. For the large majority, I'm not sure what team is showing up for South Alabama. But give me South Alabama in this one. Playing really well lately. There was a throw last week. They talk about NFL throws. How do you do it from hash to hash? There was an awful throw. No way should you be throwing this. But Gio Lopez threw number to number. It was just, and he's a left-handed quarterback. There were just so many bad things that happened, but it was on a dart. That's got to be a 40-yard throw, 35-yard. It was on a dart, and it was only for a couple yards. But I haven't seen too many number to number passes. But I like what South Alabama can do. Texas State's just been so up and down. So based on just consistency, I'm going to go South Alabama.
And it's a huge game for them. If they win, for them to have an opportunity to win the Sun Belt West, step one is they have to win this game. And their game is on Friday. The Louisiana doesn't play till Saturday. They're not going to know what's going to happen in that game. So, I think they're going to have more motivation. And like you said, they're they have been the more consistent team.
All right, let's get to some California love. We've got some G5 versus P4 matchups. We've got Stanford at San Jose State, 4 p.m. Eastern on Friday. San Jose State favored by 3, 55.5 over under. I mean, as long as it's not raining, I guess. San Jose, you kind of like them. Stanford's been kind of up and down. I don't know. With what I just witnessed last week, I can't say that they win.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Like I'm not after what we saw from Walker Egan last week. I don't quite understand how they're favored. I mean, I get Stanford's bad, but man, they're still a power four.
Like if Nick Nash, I mean, I could see how they could do it, but I don't know. I'm gonna go Stanford in this one. I guess whatever gives me the best juice there, if it's the money line or the points. I mean, I'm sure it's the money line, but anyways. Then Saturday we've got Fresno State at UCLA, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm trying to find the over-under for that game. That game's 46.5 over-under. UCLA 9.5. Give me UCLA big in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think UCLA will win, but it wouldn't shock me that if Fresno State keeps it within 9.5.
Yeah, I just don't think there's enough explosive runs for Fresno State in this one, and UCLA. I think they get this one. All right, Saturday featured G5 matchups. First, we have UTSA at Army, 12 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. Who you got?
Man, again, two contrasting styles, right? Like the air it out Roadrunners versus the pound and ground Army. Man, I'm gonna lean to Army. Army's favored by 7. I don't know that I like them to win by a touchdown. But I do think they will win the game.
Give me Army in this one, over under 54.5. I actually kind of like the over in this one. Like you might think under because it's a service academy, but Army's been putting up numbers. They're running it like you get Daly with a long touchdown run here or there. UTSA trying to just throw the ball all around. I like the over of 54.5. Next, we've got Louisiana at Louisiana Monroe, 12 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. Over under 48.5. Louisiana favored by 9.5. Give me Louisiana.
Yeah, two teams going in opposite directions. UL Monroe needs this game for bowl eligibility, which would be huge for them.
Absolutely,
But they've blown it every week for the last 3 weeks, it seems, at least. Louisiana needs to win the Sun Belt West. Louisiana, even with backup quarterback Chandler Fields last week, played dynamite. UL Monroe, you know what they're going to do. They're going to hand the ball off to Ahmad Hardy. That's their only offensive weapon. And so, yeah, I'm with you. I think Louisiana wins this and probably by more than the 9.5. I would think they'd win by 10, 11, 12, something like that.
All right. ODU at Arkansas State. This one, 3 p.m. Eastern. ODU favored by 4, over under 58.5. Give me ODU in this one. I think this one is going to be the Colton Joseph show. Try to end the season on a high note for ODU. Who do you got?
Yeah, I mean, this game doesn't really mean much. It's kind of personal pride, really, for both teams. Arkansas State's already bowl eligible. They can't win the Sun Belt West. ODU can't get the bowl eligibility. They get 5 wins. So to me, these kind of games are difficult because it's going to be it's personal motivation. There's no extra motivation on either side. my heart wants ODU to win. My head says it, but they might not.
Well, I am an unbiased, so I say ODU gets the win. Jacksonville State versus Western Kentucky at Western Kentucky, 4 p.m. Eastern. Kickoff. WKU favored by 1.5, over under 60.5. Give me Jacksonville State in this one. Running all over, controlling the ball, controlling the time of possession. Give me Jacksonville State.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't understand this line at all. I don't understand how Western Kentucky is the favorite. I like Jacksonville State in this game.
App State at Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern favored by 2.5, 62.5 over under. In a weird way, give me App State. I like App State in this one.
Yeah, I agree. App State needs this win for bowl eligibility. This is a pretty big rivalry. So two things of motivation for App State. Number one, they need to win for bowl eligibility. Number two, if they beat Georgia Southern, then that guarantees Marshall is in the Sun Belt Championship. I think they'd rather see Marshall win the East than Georgia Southern. So yeah, I'm with you. I think App State wins this game.
And let me look up a couple things that I've been just kind of looking at here for player wise. So I wrote down a couple notes as I pull them up here. So for App State, you've got Caden Robinson goes down. Mekhi Jackson has stepped up this last week. He had 5 receptions on 6 targets for 162 yards and 1 touchdown. He had 5 receptions in that game. He had 12 in his last 4 up to that game, so he's kind of stepped up in Caden Robinson's absence. Amani Marshall has averaged 23 carries for 116 yards rushing and 1 touchdown over his last 4 contests. App State needs to win this game to become bowl eligible. That's another thing that's kind of sleeping on there. I believe that we see App State just stick with that run-focused approach. And Georgia Southern's defense is allowing 189 yards rushing and a touchdown and a half per game over their last 4 contests. So given, Appalachian State's recent run game success, I think Amani Marshall is the reason App State wins this. They have not passed as much here in the last couple weeks. And then, again, Caden Robinson going down to injury. I like App State. Now I gotta find my spot again because I had to go scroll and find that. Next, we have Nevada at UNLV. I don't know the spread. Let's hear.
It's UNLV by 17.5.
17.5, over under 55.5. I actually like the over the 55.5. Nevada's been sneaky in scoring points. Brendan Lewis has been great on the ground and through the air. Obviously, UNLV really great on defense. So, that could pose some issues there, especially with a Mountain West championship berth on the line. They could, be a little amped up. Give me UNLV. I don't know if I like that 17.5, but that's probably in the ballpark.
Yeah, I think, again, UNLV win, and they're in the Mountain West Championship. They were given a gift last week by Colorado State in losing to Fresno, and I think UNLV is going to take full advantage of that, and they're gonna put it on Nevada.
All right. Marshall at JMU, 8 p.m. Eastern. JMU favored by 3.5, 52.5 over under. Give me the over and give me Marshall.
Yeah, that's another one I don't quite understand the spread. I think Marshall's going to win. They're definitely the more consistent team. JMU has been very up and down, and JMU's not really playing for anything in terms of being able to win the Sun Belt East. Marshall, it's all in front of them. Give me Marshall.
James Madison has allowed 319 yards rushing and 5 touchdowns via the ground over the last 2 weeks. Braylon Braxton, absolute weapon with his legs. He's coming off a game in which he just ran for 140 yards on the ground against Justice's ODU team there. He's averaging 47.2% of the rushing attempts over those last 2 weeks. If they want to get to that Sun Belt Conference Championship game, look for them to rely heavily on Braylon Braxton and those legs to get them to that win over James Madison. New Mexico at Hawaii, 11 p.m. Eastern. It's a standalone game. I know it's hard for you to stay up, but watch.
I tell you why I'm watching this game. New Mexico wins this game, they become bowl eligible, and that's the job. I can't understate the job that Bronco Mendenhall has done this year at New Mexico.
Great hire.
I mean, it's worthy of Coach of the Year. He's not going to get it. It's just not going to happen. I understand that. But, I mean, if New Mexico gets to bowl eligibility, that's just miraculous. He has done a hell of a job, and I expect him to win this game and get the bowl eligibility. I mean, again, we talked about it last week. I feel like you and I were some of the highest folks in the country on New Mexico, but we weren't this high. We didn't see him getting the bowl eligibility.
I think their over-under to start the year was 2.5.
Yeah.
1.5, something like
that.
I
think we would like them to get 4 wins, but not necessarily the bowl eligibility.
Yeah, New Mexico favored by 2.5, over-under 61.5. Give me New Mexico. And honestly, New Mexico's defense has been up and down. But what really gets worked is usually that defensive line by New Mexico. But Hawaii's not going to be running the ball, so I kind of like the over in the 61.5. And Hawaii's been stingy against the run, but I'm just trying to think who ran all over. Faison just ran all over him a couple weeks ago. Devin Dampier is going to.
Yeah, that's another reason to watch this game is Devin Dampier. If you have not got an opportunity to watch Devin Dampier, not only to watch, New Mexico get the bowl eligibility, tune in to watch Devin Dampier. The kid's electric.
Hopefully Luke Weissong gets a touchdown. Not too many touchdowns on the year. Let's see what we can do there for Luke Weissong in this one. All right, guys, make sure if you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. And if you are watching us on X, please give us a follow, a like, a retweet. If you're listening to us in podcast form, please rate and review. That's going to do it for us tonight. We're not going to do usually we do some fantasy football stuff at the end. If you want some names, go ahead DM us. We've got a couple. I've got a Fan Tracks article that will come out Thursday. I wait till after the waiver wire is gone to see what's still out there, because there are going to be plenty of names still out there if you need them. But
come back and join us next week. We'll go over what happened in week 14, and then we'll get you ready for those conference championship games.
Yep, and then we'll bring you up to date on all the latest news and happening in the world of G5 college football. Again, if you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. If you're watching us on X, please give us a retweet, a like, and a follow. And if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please subscribe and leave those 5-star ratings. Thank you all for your support. Until next week, we are the G5 Hive.
First